so quiet. Aaron, you are Mike. Talk real quick.
Mic check. Check one.
Okay, I'm gonna just mute you and then until. All right, we're good to go. We are. Are we live on YouTube? We are. Then let's do this shit. We're all good, fellas.
All right.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Oh, no SD card.
Mhm.
You might just have to pop it out and push it back in.
I was like, what? I know I did that. All right. You're right. Now we're ready. It's saying no SD card again, Joe.
Your thing's been having a little issue with that lately.
I've never had this problem.
They're having problems.
Right as I hit live. Right as I hit live.
I'm gonna have to ask for more money.
It's spinning. You got to be kidding me.
You don't really need it, right?
Yeah, we do for the audio. We 100% need it. Why don't I just get a different card?
They've got one of those.
What the fuck is going on? I don't want to shut it off because we already hit live. What's a here? This will fit 16 gigabytes, correct? I almost feel like I wonder what's gonna happen when I turn that bad boy off. I'm gonna format this thing. Took that out. I haven't had any issues. You've had issues with that? I'm wondering if I do shut it off, if that's going to affect the whole Windows system. Let it. Yeah, we're live on YouTube. Then I'll use this one. Sorry about that, Robert.
Unacceptable.
You were on time. You were early.
Unacceptable.
Our SD card is late.
Unacceptable. All right, now we got this figured out. Let's officially go live. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I am your host, Andy Ruther, coming today from the Smut Studio in Venice Beach, California, with my co-host on my far left, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
How you doing today, buddy?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I am back.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back. Welcome back
From 2 weeks.
From Cincinnati, Ohio.
2 weeks in Ohio. I made it, but I don't want to talk about that.
You were missed, Andy. I just want to say you were missed. We all missed you. I missed you. The Dirtballs missed you. I missed you because I don't like doing all this shit, man. I just like to show up, sit down, and talk sports. I don't need SD cards and uploading and booking guests. And you're back to do that. And look, you booked us a fantastic guest.
I'm very excited. This has been months in the making. The legendary founder, creator, owner, the guy who's got so many, just such a great title of Black Sports Online, Robert Littal.
You know something?
What's up?
You know, I remember when I saw you guys for the first time.
Okay.
It was late night. It was it was like 1 a.m. And you guys were like, I was like, there's like, hey, these guys did a whole YouTube show about you. I'm like, really? I'm so flattered. And then I listened to the show. I was like, should I be flattered or offended, by this? It's like, what's really going on here? And I was like, yeah, it kind of it was bordering the line there. But I was like, something, they're good guys, and he reached out to me and everything. And I was like, something, this is flattery that I can give them some enjoyment and give them some content for the show. So I'm glad you guys had me on.
I appreciate it.
Obviously, we've as many people have found you through social media, your tweets. You're the first person to break a lot of stories. And when I first came across it, I was just like, this is a wild website. And then when Andy and I were talking about it, I mean, if you're going to be offended by anybody, be offended by me, because this guy, 2 days in, he's like, Black Sports Online is my favorite thing. I wake up in the morning, I read it. I go to bed at night, I read it. You're now like his #1 news source.
Well, I appreciate that. That's the goal sometimes is, I think, when you watch news, especially in these times.
Do me a favor. Put the mic up. Yeah, a little closer.
Everything is so serious.
Yeah.
Everything is so, it's a serious thing. Got countries in a serious situation and everything. So I try to bring sometimes some levity to it. And if I can entertain people like that, that's good. That's what I like to hear.
Well, I just like the fact that your site, like, you don't pull any. You're not trying to hide. You're just like, this is the fucking news. We're going to cover everything, and your headlines. I mean, is there a site that has better headlines than Black Sports Online? There's none.
I don't think so. I mean, a lot of people think that the website Bossip has very good has good headlines, but they're different. One of the things about my headlines, one of the things that I do is that I don't name call anybody.
Yeah.
I don't try to be intentionally funny. It's not even about, being funny. It's about parsing the information from the story. The story itself, and that's one of the things I learned in school. Schools is still important, people, is that the story is what should be driving thing, not me. So it's not about, what Rob said.
You're not the New York Post where it's like some catchy clickbait headline.
No, this is actually happening in the story. And I think one of the differences is they teach you, when you do headlines, to just, be very generic and, very boring. But sometimes there's some really great things in these stories. And I like to put the most explosive things, written out. And it's not a traditional headline. Your headline isn't supposed to go these long sentences and things like that.
It's your signature. It's your signature now.
Yeah, but that's one of the good things about being independent. It's not like I have to go through 5 editors to be like, can I get this headline posted?
Do you have editors? Let's just be honest. Or do you just put the whole story in the headline?
No, there's a method, to it. It's like we're looking over things. It's not just let's just put the whole story in, because if you notice, each headline, no matter how long it is, there's always a little something left on the hook, a little bait that if you want to know the end game to everything, you have to go and click on it.
Now, I have a question for you, because when you first got here, we were talking, you said you started this site 13 years ago. And now, like we said, I mean, we have a whole game around it. There's definitely a signature look and a signature read to your headline. Do you remember the first one that you wrote that really gained some traction? You're like, this is the method that I'm going to use from here on out.
Well, the method itself has always been a part of BSO. I remember when I first started, it was an editorial site. So what we would do is we write these long editorial stories about sports and everything. And I remember I was having a hard time getting traction, for that. And this is long. We're talking about the Yahoo, GeoCity, days of things. But then I remember I did a post once about the 25 most beautiful wags of the NBA. Something like that. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I stole the concept, I think, from like Bleacher Report or whatever those, when they were just doing slideshows and things, because like, that works for them. Let me try something like that, but my way. And I noticed how much traction that got over me saying, hey, this is why Kobe Bryant's the GOAT or whatever it may be. So what happened is, as we progressed through the time, before, blogs and social media used to be just the blogs. We used to be the ones that were on there to get the news fast. So if you wanted to get the news fast, if you were on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, you would go to the blogs, because we would get our stuff up before you saw it on SportsCenter or ESPN. But then the mainstream media got hipped to that. So what did they do? They started flooding social media with their stories. That's why you'll see Woj or Adam Schefter put the information out before it hits ESPN.com or it hits, SportsCenter, because they were taken away from what the blogs was doing. So I had to find a way that if we're all doing the same story, if Magic Johnson quits. Everybody's doing that story in real time.
Did Magic Johnson quit?
Yeah,
God damn.
So how do I, as someone that doesn't have 1 million followers, is not a mainstream, how do I get someone to read my site over SI or ESPN or NBA TV or whatever? And that's when we came up with the concept. Well, let's not just do the story Magic Johnson quits the Lakers. Let's do the story. Here are 10 memes from Magic Johnson quitting the Lakers. It's just that small
Twitter reacts.
Yeah, that Twitter reacts.
You love the Twitter reacts.
Just that small change in it, is what really kind of changed things.
But it's smart because someone like me, I love seeing the reactions.
Mm-hmm.
So, I love whether it's a sports story or we were talking Game of Thrones before we went live. Part of what I love about Game of Thrones is seeing what the hell Twitter's saying. You know what I'm saying? So, we live in this age, and Joe and I we're big fans. We love Black Twitter. We think Black Twitter should be the official Twitter.
I think Black Twitter is the official Twitter now, but
right? Because I love just seeing how hyped up everybody gets.
I just said today, I just wrote a tweet, and I replied to Andy, and I said, definitely the best response you can ever get on Twitter is the skull emojis. That's if you get a skull emoji, it's like, I'm dead from this.
Yeah.
And that's definitely Black Twitter.
The Black Twitter started that. That's what I'm saying. So, the same way with me, Game of Thrones, it's it's funny to me. I'll look at, what I deem white people reactions on Game of Thrones, and then Black Twitter is just, memes and GIFs that are making me laugh. White Twitter's well, Arya's character arc isn't justified. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. We're just watching a show. Do you know what I'm saying?
But now what I've noticed, too, is is sort of, and we were talking about it again before the show, the crossover. There was time where, Tristan Thompson's baby with the Kardashians is not something that would ever make it on SportsCenter. They're never going to talk about it. This is his personal life. But now it's to the point, especially in the sort of the social media age with athletes, where people are actually questioning, how is this affecting the NBA Finals?
Right.
And that's where you guys come in, is you're always breaking that kind of story first. And now SportsCenter's got to credit BSO in their footer about major news.
Well, the thing, and just kind of going back to your point, is right now we're in a time where if you go viral, if it's a viral story, if it's a viral tweet, Instagram post, Snapchat, or whatever, that's what's drawing the viewer. That's what's drawing the reader.
Yeah.
And the YouTube follower or whatever. So the thing about media and mainstream media is really no different in society. The bigger someone is, normally they get their ideas from someone smaller, and they just had a bigger, outlet to do it. So I think, it's not even so much, Black Twitter, white Twitter, NBA Twitter, NBA media. I think it's more that, when people see what works from on a lower scale, how is, and not to say any names, but let me just say this. How is BSO driving more traffic than X site that has a $5 million payroll and advertising on all this stuff? How is this one person driving more traffic, and we're paying all of these people, to do this? And what they do is they just start checking off the little box. That's why, and it's not a knock on Stephen A. Smith, who's always kind of been like that, but that's why he's in a dark room screaming about the Knicks. It's not because he really feels that way, and he may feel that way on some level, but he knows it's going to go viral, because why not just turn on the light? If I wanted to be upset, the Knicks didn't get the number 1 pick, I could sit here, turn on the light, say it in a very calm voice, explain to you, why I'm upset about it. But nobody would care about that.
Yeah.
If you're in a dark room.
Well, the deal is, Robert, I have a light sensitivity.
Right. So if you're in a dark room and you're screaming and yelling, and then at the end of it you say, you're not going to want to miss First Take tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's promotion.
Sure.
Everything's the WWE now, really.
Well, see, I'm glad that you said that, because we talk about that all the time on our show, is that Joe does impersonations. That's about the extent of us in the WWE world, because we always say, we're just being ourselves. We're going to have real takes. And that's what actually I don't like about those shows, is that I could turn on First Take or any of those shows. I don't know what their real opinions are. You know what I'm saying? I have no clue what Skip Bayless really thinks.
Yes.
No clue at all. Whereas I always say to people, if you want real takes, watch us, because I'm going to give my opinion. Am I wrong? Yeah, I'm wrong all the fucking time. In fact, the Andy Ruther curse is basically undefeated at this point. Rest in peace, Steve Harvey's talk show, because that was another one that I just ruined after going on that. Now it's been canceled. But
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
You didn't see this?
No, this is the most.
Yeah.
This
I've
is
been
the biggest
cursing
Andy Ruther curse in history.
Yeah, I go on his show. He's canceled a month later. So, yeah, everything's getting canceled, and teams are losing because of me. But back to my point is that
I feel now I'm sort of worried about the BSO's website. Like, if traffic's going to go down just for sitting next to Ruther.
It's stressing me out now.
I feel like your headlines are unbreakable, though.
no, man, nobody can beat your headlines. Well, let's get into some sports, and then later we'll play our fun Black
Before we do
Sports
that, I
Online
want to
headline
know,
game.
did you win a Super Bowl?
No, this is an Ohio State replica championship.
Oh, nice.
Ring from when they beat the Oregon Ducks for the first.
Are you like diehard Ohio State?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm a Buckeye through and through, which is funny because, like I was telling you, it wasn't like I was just dying to go to Ohio State. It's just, but once you get there, it's like a second home, second family.
Yeah.
Me. And it's funny because I was always a big Fab Five guy. Chris Webber, Jalen
Sure.
Rose. So when I got there, I was rocking Chris Webber Michigan jerseys, and I found out real quickly that's probably not the
No.
that's not a good thing
That's
to
not
be
the move on campus?
That's not the move on campus to make.
No, not at all. Sorry, I had a brain.
Yeah, brain freeze.
I had a brain. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have
You
that
a
at
brain
times.
deadening. Now, and you also said you're from St. Louis.
Yes.
So, where do your sports teams run down? Are you a St. Louis guy? Are you all like?
No, here's the thing. I never I had teams when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Like I was big. Anything that was flamboyant. That's the team that I liked. I liked the 90s Cowboys, with Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders and stuff. I was an early a Shaq Kobe
Sure.
Lakers guy. But as I got older and
So Robert liked all the best teams.
No, I just like the flamboyant player. I was more of a player guy.
Yeah.
It was Deion Sanders I
Sure.
liked, or I was big Chad Ochocinco guy. Like that was my
Yeah.
guy. T.O. Those are my guys. And in basketball, I like Allen Iverson. So I was more of a player guy
Yeah.
than a team guy. But then I got older, and those players retired. And now these guys are younger, so I don't really have a team. And it's kind of like my thing. It's my thing. Well, you can't really troll me because I don't have a team that, you root for. And they're like, oh, well, we'll troll you over Ohio State. But, we've lost 7 games in 7 years. So it's that's not going to really do anything either.
What do you think about Urban Meyer?
I never liked Urban Meyer. I thought, how in the movies, you got to make a sack. You didn't see Endgame. I can't tell you. But you make sacrifices for certain things. I always felt like it was blood money to Urban Meyer for the championships, because after the sweater vest got left, Jim Tressel.
Sure.
There was a little brief period of time where they were not very good, and they're like, we're willing to bring in Urban Meyer, who housed murderers. But if that meant that we would get a championship and be in the hunt for championships. So I never was a big Urban Meyer guy. I don't think he's a great guy, but
Yeah.
I think sometimes
He
winning
wins.
trumps all, and that's what happened. No pun intended.
Yeah. No, I totally feel you. So you don't have. It's crazy. You being from St. Louis, such diehard. I went to school there.
Yeah.
Such diehard Cardinals fans there. You never hopped on
No,
that train.
I was a Red Sox fan when I was a kid.
No shit.
Yeah, I was a Red Sox fan because I didn't like the Yankees, because I was like, oh man, they're just so pompous and uppity.
Well,
we're
on the same page.
Yeah,
there.
so I always wanted the Red Sox back then to win, because I felt like they were always the ones that were getting kicked. But then they started winning, and kind of gave.
Well, their first World Series
Yeah,
was
yeah,
against the Cardinals that they
against the
won.
Cardinals. Right, I was
to break the curse.
Yeah, I was cheering for the Red Sox, and I was a big Pedro Martinez and his curl fan back there. I loved me some Pedro Martinez.
You must have loved it when he threw Don Zimmer on the ground.
Oh, that was a good fight, wasn't it? Yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to throw a couple of old men on the ground to get your respect.
Was that post BSO starting? Was that like a BSO headline back in the day?
No, that was pre BSO. I wasn't quite there yet.
Pedro,
Do you remember?
What would have been that headline for Pedro throwing Don Zimmer down?
Yeah.
Give me the BSO headline for Pedro tossing Don Zimmer to the ground. I believe that was the 2003
2003
NLCS or ALCS.
Yeah.
It would be something like watch Red Sox, Pedro Martinez tossed Don Zimmer like Braun Strowman tosses Rey Mysterio at King of the Ring. Something like that.
Amazing.
Do you see how just naturally
Yeah.
it comes out of Robert? Like, dude, you have headlines
Thanks.
down to a fucking
Yeah.
T. When you see something,
Yeah.
are you just like, that's the headline?
See, that's the thing. I always tell people, I think everybody is gifted with something. Like my stepbrother, he was real good at mechanic. Like he could fix cars like at 14. I think everybody's gifted with something. I think the only gift that I have, I'm pretty much average in every single way. Average looking, average height. Well, not average weight anymore. I need to work on that. But my gift was I was always good at communication. I was always good at putting my words together. I used to be a rapper in my younger, days, and I never get writer's block. Like everything always just kind of flows out of my head, and like it doesn't take me time to think. Like you could tell me that, and I can use the words in kind of a visual medium. Like I could always paint a picture with what I was trying to say. So when I see a story, the headline appears. It's like it's like a beautiful mind. It's like very strange, but it's really the only talent.
You're like the Bob Dylan of internet headlines.
Like I never had to I don't write speeches. Like if I go speak, I just go.
You let it rip.
I just let it rip. I don't write speeches. I don't prepare. Like I was very good at school. They'd be like, do you want to speak at an assembly? I would, no problem. Like the words have never been a problem for me. And I don't know if that's my superpower, but
sounds like your next thing stand-up comedy. We got to get you out on the.
I thought about it for a while, but my comedy's more like Seinfeldish. Like I just kind of tell stories.
Yeah.
They just happen to be funny. I don't think like if I could never tell jokes. Like I never was a joke guy. Like I can talk, but I couldn't just tell jokes. So if you want to listen to me talk for 30 minutes, it may be funny if I start telling you some of the stories of my life. But that part has always been the easiest part, for me.
That's
now,
great.
I know Andy wants to jump into sports. Before we do, I just got to know, like, because BSO is blown up and it's such a big thing now, and you started 13 years ago, there's got to be somewhere along that path where you were like, we just went from a blog to like something else. Do you remember the story that was like, oh shit, this went?
Absolutely. I know exactly the story, and I know exactly when it happened. It was in 2009.
Okay.
And I was at a friend of mine's wedding, and I got back, I think I had I don't know what type of phone I had, maybe a BlackBerry or something back then, but I got a text from someone that had told me that they had a scoop that Steve McNair had been shot. But the thing about it was, he got shot by his mistress.
Yeah.
And no one knew that at the time. They knew that something had happened, but they didn't know the story. So at that time, and actually in retrospect, no way in 2019 I run with that with just one source like that and nothing else. No, I was too big now. If I got that wrong, I would be, that's a bad thing. But in 2009, wasn't as much filtering. So I ran that story before official police reports, before anybody else. Steve McNair has been shot, allegedly by his mistress. He's dead, da-da-da-da-da. I did it at my friend's wedding, while they were getting set up for the wedding. I always keep my laptop with me. That's why you see me with my book bag, even though, like, I always keep it. You never know what might go down. And I wrote that story, and it got caught up in Google because people were hearing rumors and stuff. And I just saw my little stat line go like this, up this. And then I saw news people crediting, me, TV stations in Nashville.
Yeah.
And then when it came back around to ESPN, first reported by Black Sports Online. Yahoo first reported by Black Sports Online. And I actually went on CNN, did an interview, like all of this stuff. And, this is 10 years ago. So I'm much younger and much more green in what I was doing. But from that point on, it gave me a level of credibility that I hadn't had, before. And I'm not a break story guy. Every once in a while, like I knew LeBron was going to LA for a while, but I don't really break.
Is Kevin Durant going to the Knicks?
That's yet to be determined.
Let me know
as soon as I know. Yeah.
When you get to know, slide into my DMs.
Yeah.
How many like what is your take me to your source?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you say I knew LeBron was going, obviously you just shared the Steve McNair story. Like where are your sources? Who are your people?
So
is this just something you build up over time?
Right. So here's the thing. I'll tell you a little secret. Okay. Most people like Adrian Wojciechowski or Woj. His sources are NBA people. GMs, executives, high-ranking, people. When you see people talk about the Lakers, they're talking to people within the franchise, high up, right? My sources are a little more ground level. It's a little more like the security guard or the girl that's happened to be dating, the such. Or it could be the strip club, the girl at the strip club
Oh,
that
this
had
is
a career.
great. This is great. You got strip club sources.
Yeah, so
Do those people? Do you ever give them any compensation?
no.
They just want the.
They
just want to be the scoop.
I'm not gonna give away, my source, but like somebody told me like more than a year ago, a couple of years ago, that LeBron was thinking about going to the Lakers, and then somebody told me last year specifically that it was a done, deal, and it was someone within a circle that, let's just say, I trusted.
Yeah.
So it's a little more, it's like, it's the difference between the cops and the detective, like the private eye. The cops, their sources are snitches on the street or whatever, right? The private eye, he has to get a little more deep into the mud to get the information. I'm more of a private eye reporter than a police, detective. That's the way I would describe it.
I love it. I love that you have
Amazing.
strip club sources.
Absolutely. That's the best time. That's the best thing.
Like, are we talking strip club workers, strippers?
a little bit of
both?
everything. Like, for instance, so James Harden,
The DJ.
James Harden, James
The
Harden.
DJ's calling you up on the phone.
Like,
He's
yeah,
I got a story for you.
No, it's just people there. You act like so many years, you just kinda, if James Harden, and it's not like this is a harmless one. James Harden loses to the Warriors, and somebody tells me, hey, he's on this jet. He's on his way to Miami. He's going to be at this club at such and such. And then, like, that's great. Like, it wasn't even anything for me to be like, I'm not trying to down the guy for going to a strip club after losing. So I didn't care. I didn't report about it. But then you see TMZ, the next day say, hey, we got video of James Harden in the club. I knew about it, beforehand. But to me, at some point, you got to have, like, a line. Like, that's his man. He's not doing anything illegal.
Yeah.
So who cares if he flew to
You're not
the
trying to
strip
just
club?
blow up his spot just to do it.
Yeah, now I write it after the fact, but that's how a lot of my stories are, that I know certain things that I won't report. If I did report them, I'd be way richer because
You're an ethical journalist.
yeah, well, I think some things, if it's not, if it's not illegal and it has nothing to do with how they're playing, it has nothing to do with the game. If someone says, and I won't say the player name, but let's just say somebody tells me X player is cheating on his wife.
Sure.
Right? And you guys or the general public thinks X player is just the nicest guy of all time. And he's just the most faithful guy of all time. I'm not going to blow up, his spot, for that, because that has nothing to do with if he's been nice to the media, he's been nice to other people, it doesn't have anything to do with what he's doing on the court. It's not for me to say, hey, here's a naked picture of such and such, or here's a picture of him with such and such in the VIP. To me, that's over the line.
So how do you view TMZ
Now,
then?
now, if he's cheating with a Kardashian, you just got to go with it.
No, I knew Here's the thing. I knew Tristan Thompson was cheating way before anything ever came out.
You knew.
Yeah, it was almost from day one.
Sources.
Like, yeah, I mean, he was not trying to hide it very well. But once again, at that point,
It's hard to be a 7-footer at strip clubs.
but
and
at that point, it was like, once again, it had nothing to do, with nothing. Now, once it becomes public,
right.
then it's free game. Then I
Yeah.
can start telling you what I maybe knew before and everything. So you gonna ask me about TMZ?
Well, I'm curious, Robert, how you view them, because you're saying you're not going to go that route.
Mhm.
You're going to, keep it confidential. But somebody like TMZ is just like, they run with everything. Like, do you look down on how they handle it?
No, I mean, to me it's a personal choice. I think, like, for me, I have a line. Like I said, if it's not illegal, it's not affecting anybody, and you're doing it on your own time, just like I wouldn't want anybody following me around.
Yeah.
And doing saying everything. So I try to look at it like that. Like, now I'm a public figure. If I walked outside and somebody saw me popping a woman or pushing down an old lady, then yeah, I mean, you're gonna report about that. If somebody does a video of that. But if I'm just on my own personal time doing stuff, I don't want to be bothered either. Now,
Sure.
I don't have an issue with TMZ in the sense that, at least with TMZ, it's their cameramen that are out and about. So that they're there. They're not necessarily. I thought the stuff with Tristan Thompson when they first caught him, and it wasn't TMZ that was good. It was just he got caught by the paparazzi walking into a big, public hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why when you date a Kardashian. If he just dated a regular IG model, nobody would have cared how many girls he was taking to the
Yeah.
hotel.
Right.
So I think there's levels, to certain things. But I think TMZ also holds back on things. I think every journalist, if you're around the players, you're around the business, you know a lot more than what you tell the
Yeah.
public. And that's the reason you get, certain things that you get from
Sure.
players. So I don't have a problem with TMZ. They've always been very nice to me, and I've worked with them, before. But we do live in a society that if you're famous, there's an extra amount of attention on you. But like I said, my thing is, it's all like the stuff with Ayesha Curry, like we were talking about. Nobody would talk about Ayesha Curry if Ayesha Curry wasn't talking about it herself. So I always find it funny when people say, leave her alone. Well, she didn't have to say it.
Yeah.
Sure.
If you
You're
don't
on a TV show.
Right. If you don't, we were leaving you alone.
Yeah.
When was the last time anybody talked about Ayesha Curry in a big viral
when she
thing?
tweeted about the game
They-
being
they-
rigged.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So when people say you guys should leave Ayesha Curry alone, she could feel how she want to feel. That's true. She
Yeah.
can feel exactly. But when you say it on a place that gets a Facebook TV show that gets 5 million viewers, you gotta kind of expect people are gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that part to me is always in when they say you just report about gossip and da 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 da. Well, it's only that when the person puts themselves in a position to be talked
Yeah.
about.
No, that makes sense. I totally get that. It's a weird time that we're in, right? Like you're
Yeah.
saying, like everything is so blurred between private and public, and
Mhm.
everyone's a star now.
Yeah.
And that's what's wild. Even the term Instagram model to me
Yeah.
is still.
Hey, I created that term, by the way.
You created that.
That is a BSO original.
A
IG
BSO
model.
original.
Yeah, yeah.
And now there's literally hundreds of thousands of girls
Yeah.
claiming to be something
Yeah.
that you.
How did you start that?
It's weird. It actually is it comes from a different term. Before Instagram, the girls would go on Twitter, and that's how they would put their pictures out and everything.
Yeah.
So we came up with a term called twaddle, which was a Twitter model. So that was
Twaddle.
the twaddle, right? So when
Is this pre-tot?
this free thought, yeah,
Wait, is it tot or thought?
it's thought.
It's thought.
It's
You've been
thought.
doing this for years, Andy.
I know.
Yeah, it's thought. You got to get that H in there.
I
It's thought.
always pronounce it tot.
No, it's thought. You got that H in there. It's thought.
It's thought.
Yeah, I did not come up with that. That's
Not a
that's-
silent
yeah,
H.
Yeah, it's thought. It's always
Okay,
been
okay.
thought.
So it was just me who pronounced it tot.
I think we've corrected you on this like 4 or 5 times
I
on
know.
the
We
show.
have on the show. I know. Okay, okay. Anyway.
So had the Twitter model.
Okay.
And then Instagram, comes around,
Yeah.
and we were doing stories, off social media and Instagram, and then at one point I needed a term to describe what I would consider someone that is, getting paid or getting attention, literally off the pictures, but are not actually, not with an agency or
They
a
don't have any-
magazine.
Yeah.
So we had to come up with something. So we
Sure.
just came up with, IG model. And because that was just a girl that just was taking pictures on Instagram and becoming famous off of Instagram, but didn't really have anything else, going
Yeah.
for them. And it kind of just
She's not
stuck.
walking runways.
Yeah,
She's just
exactly.
a
Yeah.
model
Yeah.
on Instagram.
How many fathers out there are so mad about that because the fathers with their daughters want to grow up to become an Instagram model? Do you think? Do you have any guilt when you sleep at night, Robert?
No, I don't have any guilt. I've never felt, because like I said, I always have a line, but I don't think that's an issue. Like if you're an Instagram model and just to say, listen, I make money off people on Twitter,
Yeah.
off people on Facebook, off social media.
Sure.
So it would be hypocritical to me
Yeah.
to look down on a woman for making money, by doing swimsuit
No,
pictures.
I agree.
Hey, yeah.
But you want to hear something?
Yeah.
I'd like to hear your guys' opinion on this. I would rather my daughter be a stripper than an Instagram model.
Nah. Because here's the thing: if you an Instagram model is behind the scene, like nobody can reach out and touch an Instagram. I mean, you can touch the
Okay.
screen.
Yeah.
There's actual dangers involved in being a stripper because there are people, some of the guys that don't have the best, intentions. So I
Sure.
think there's I'm not even comparing the careers as much as you can put yourself in danger by doing that, position. Whereas if you're just taking pictures on your iPhone and you're sitting in your bed all
Yeah.
day, because that's what some of them do. They just sit at home and they go outside, take pictures by the pool, take pictures by the bed, and then go to sleep. It's a harmless profession. You know,
Yeah,
in a way.
the only person, the guy taking those pictures, he's probably, there's probably a couple of those guys that are predators too, right?
Yeah, you gotta be. Well, that's
You gotta be. If he doesn't have an assistant with a light, if he doesn't have a business card, he's trouble.
Yeah, social media can be dangerous for women.
Sure.
And I try to explain this, just to people like, be careful about your locations and stuff, because the thing about social media that's different from when we were growing up is when we were growing up, your social set was your neighborhood, maybe your job, your school. Now, you can be in, California, but you can harass someone in Denver. Or someone, and then, someone can drive to Vegas because they saw some girl, posting a bunch of pictures from.
There's no
Vegas.
boundaries anymore.
There's no boundaries, and you can know exactly where she's at the time that she's at.
Yeah, hot girls save the picture, post it later. Later.
Right, because if you're like,
Safer
hey,
gram.
I'm doing Instagram Live.
Safer gram.
Yeah. So you just want to be.
You guys need to coin that term on Black Sports Online.
Yeah, that's a
Safer
good one.
gram.
Safer gram. That's a good one.
I saw a question real quick before we get into sports. What's the bottom? People were asking, what's the bottom of your shirt say?
Black men don't cheat.
Black men don't cheat. Where'd that come from?
That you never heard of the black? That's a Black Twitter thing.
Damn, I'm not on Black Twitter enough.
Yeah,
then.
yeah, it's a black. It's a well, I don't even know what I would call it. It's a group. It's black men sometimes get a bad rap. Well, not sometimes, all the time.
Yeah.
For various reasons, and
I've seen some things. I've heard some things.
Yeah. So one of the things is that we always quote unquote are cheating on our thing. So as part of the Faithful Black Man Coalition that I'm part of.
Are you the president?
Nah. Well, I would like to be the president. I mean, I'm engaged, so I'm a faithful black man, and I have the most wonderful fiance of all time. So, but I just it's just one of those things that we want to get positive black male images out there. And I think
Where do you get the Black Men Don't Cheat shirts?
I get this off Amazon. I get everything off Amazon. Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah, they're gonna sponsor your show.
I would love an Italian Men Don't Cheat shirt, but I don't think I could wear it with a straight face.
What if I wore a Black Men Don't Cheat shirt? Do I just look racist?
Yeah, probably. I think that, yeah.
Maybe learn how to pronounce thought first, and then one step at a time.
Yeah.
Good point. Well, Prano, before we hop into some sports here with Robert, I was asking about his shirt. You know what I was wearing when I was home? That amazing Freefly gear.
Yeah. Fantastic. Soft. I believe it's bamboo.
It is bamboo.
Which is wild to even.
I wore it back in Ohio, and it was so soft, and they're like fitting shirts, and they're kind of like
breathable
workout shirts. My family's saying, "Oh, what's that shirt?" Oh, you trying to show off because you're in shape? And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? It was a very Ohio thing. Guys, Father's Day is right around the corner. They are amazing shirts, like Joe was saying. They're made from bamboo. They're so soft. A pair of shorts I love. I got a hat I love. And here's what I love about Freefly. The bamboo has natural UPF sun protection.
Yeah.
Great. You're pointing at me like, am I some sort of UPF expert?
I don't want you to get sunburned.
Well, I don't know, Joe. I'm just saying, it protects you from getting sunburned. So, guys, it's time you stop being uncomfortable and tried out Freefly's bamboo clothing. Father's Day is just right around the corner, like I said, so gear up for Dad. You can get 20% off if you visit freeflyapparel.com and use promo code DIRTY. That's freeflyapparel.com, promo code DIRTY. And as a quick reminder, if you go to Freefly and use that promo code, I will send you a couple beer koozies courtesy of Dirty Sports.
And Freefly sent us to try shorts, boxer shorts, a shirt, and a hat. And it's now my official workout. I wear it all together.
Yeah.
It's so I'm like, why am I going to put on all kinds of soft stuff and then have Hanes underwear?
You know how I did my first yoga a few weeks ago?
You did a little hot yoga?
Did a little hot yoga.
Okay.
Wore my Freefly shirt and the shorts, just like you're saying. Perfect workout outfit. So once again, that's freeflyapparel.com, promo code DIRTY. Okay, let's talk a little NBA because we're down to the Western Conference Finals. The lottery was last night. I'd love to hop into the lottery first.
Okay.
Sadly, I know this is going to be a tough one for Joe. Joe's diehard Knicks guy from New York over here. Sadly, I was flying, so I missed it, and I was bummed because I wanted to see Twitter. I wanted to see social media going off, and I was on a cross-country flight from Cincinnati back to L.A. And, well, first of all, Joe, as a Knicks guy, you guys landed third. What's going through your
Well,
through your head
like,
today?
so the situation with the Knicks is the 5th pick was the lowest pick we could possibly get. First, obviously, being the highest. So we landed right in the middle at third. I'm trying to be positive. It certainly could have been better to be first or second. I'm a fan of both Zion and Ja. I'm a big fan of both their games. They're kind of the agreed 1-2. So I would have loved to be in a position to take either one of those guys. Doesn't mean I don't think that Ja could potentially fall to 3 if somebody takes R.J. Barrett. But it certainly could have been worse. 5th and 4th in a 3-man draft. That would have just been so Knicks to have a 3-man draft essentially and to fall out of that top 3. So I'm glad that they're in the top 3. Would have liked to be in the top 2. Obviously, the number 1 pick would have been great. It's just wild that I think that this draft it may have curbed tanking forever. They the 3-way split between the top 3 teams. Only the Knicks of those 3 even got in the top 4, and then they didn't get the first pick. New Orleans gets the first pick. The Lakers get in the top 4. Tough to say going forward that you're going to want to tank and have the worst record.
Yeah.
Of course they change it the year the Knicks have the worst record, but whatever.
So, like, for you, I put it up here on the screen. So, like, for you, as we look at the teams in the draft order, as a Knicks guy, do you want R.J. Barrett if he's the 3rd guy available?
I just think the Knicks can't do any sort of Knicksing things where they think, they draft some 7-foot white guy from France or something like that.
Yeah.
In a 3-man draft, whichever of those 3rd guys is left, they have to take because they just can't. This is not the time to be like, we're going to do something crazy. Everybody agrees that those are the top 3 guys. Pick whichever one's left and just go from there.
What do you think the move is? Now, Robert, do you think that the Knicks get, I know we kind of touched upon it earlier, KD, maybe Joe doesn't want him, but Kyrie, like
I want KD, I don't want Kyrie.
Like, what are your thoughts on the Knicks situation?
I don't think that it's as bad as people are making it out to be. I think they still have the asset that if I'm New Orleans, I may want. Because if you can trade, you still got to trade Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
If you take the 3rd pick, you could take R.J. Barrett, who to me could be like a Lamar Odom without the cocaine. So and you could team him. You could team him with Zion, and you're right back. Where you need, or you could take the Lakers' 4th pick. So like it's the everything is contingent in my mind. It's not the draft, like you said. It's contingent on Kevin Durant. And I think everybody else is secondary right now.
Yeah.
It's because wherever Kevin Durant goes, and maybe Kawhi maybe those 2. Wherever Kawhi, well, Kawhi's not going east because he already told me that it's too cold.
Told you personally.
Yeah, he told me at the All-Star game.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
You go to all those events, right?
Yeah, I'm headed to the NBA Finals in a couple of weeks. Yeah, so.
How do I – that's
Well, as soon as you know where KD's going, you got to reach out to your boys.
But I think that's the key. If the Knicks know that KD is coming, they may be content with just, taking the pick. Or they can be like, let's try to trade it and get Anthony Davis. So I don't think it was funny to watch, the reactions, but I don't think they're in as bad a shape as
now, is Anthony Davis, from all reports that I read today, even with them getting the number 1 pick, because in my head I'm thinking –
he's out of there.
And that's crazy to me because I'm thinking if you add Zion to that squad, they're a good fucking squad, but he still wants no part of New Orleans?
If I was New Orleans, I would keep him for at least half of next year up until, the traded deadline. Because you never know if you trade him in the summer, you just never know how it will look. What if, with Zion and Anthony Davis, they get off to, 20-5 start, something like that. Maybe that changes his mind. Maybe he wants to do something different. But at least now you can at least put him out there. I wouldn't be so quick to pull the trigger unless, like, it was just the Lakers say, hey, we'll give you everybody. We'll give you Lonzo, Kuz, Ingram, the 4th pick, whatever you want. Then you do it.
Now, I got to say, I have a source.
Oh, okay.
I have a source, Dirtball. I don't know if he even wants me to name his name, but he slid into the DMs. I'm sure that's where you get a lot of your sources, in the DMs. And he said his friend is Alvin Gentry's nephew, works for the Pelicans, and that they are still committed to trying to do a deal with the Celtics and try to get a Tatum, Brown, and a Horford back. Now, to me, what that says, and I was like, what? That seems crazy. First of all, I think that might be a hopeful pick. Like, I don't think you're getting a Tatum and a Brown from the Celtics, but maybe for Anthony Davis. But to me, if that's the move, that means they don't just want Anthony Davis and nobody. That their move is obviously to try to keep Kyrie to play with Anthony Davis, I would assume. Otherwise, you're just starting over entirely.
Yeah, to me that wouldn't make sense for Boston
unless you're keeping Kyrie and Gordon Hayward. And now.
Right, because if Kyrie leaves and they trade away all of their good players, then all you have is AD, and he can leave after a year.
Yeah.
So, and if he left, then you're stuck with, Gordon Hayward and nobody. So it's like that wouldn't be ideal. So,
but apparently, according to my sources, the Celtics are still very, very much trying to get into the Anthony Davis sweepstakes.
Interesting. And I'm sure you guys saw Talking Celtics again yesterday.
By the way, and that would be then a team of you'd get a Drew Holiday, some Tatum, Brown, Horford, and Zion. Not a bad Pelicans team.
It's a nice squad right there.
Right.
Terry Rozier looks like he's done.
That was funny.
After his what was it? His "Fuck You to Boston" tour? Like,
I think it was the "Fuck Kyrie" tour. I think he's fine with this Boston.
It was very interesting because I've seen players do that ESPN tour, and the whole thing is to get them to say something.
Yeah.
To go viral. So I don't know if he came in with the idea that he knew what he was going to, because he had to know the questions were coming.
Sure.
Or did he get there and sometimes I don't know how many TV shows Terry Rozier has done in his lifetime or whatever, but sometimes you get there and those questions come and you're not as quite media savvy.
Yeah.
And instead of you're honest, unfortunately.
Yeah. Being
honest on TV is for a player or with the media is not necessarily the best thing all the time. Like, Tom Brady lies all the time. When he's talking to the media, Bill Belichick lies all the time. They don't want you to know, because when you start telling the truth, how you really feel about somebody or how you really feel about a situation, people don't just say, "Oh, well, we appreciate him telling the truth." They're like, "Oh, Terry Rozier said this about Kyrie and da 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 da."
What's the best soundbite you've ever gotten with an interview? Like, is there anything wild somebody has said to you? It's NBA All-Star Game or Super Bowl or Finals, something you're covering?
Me and Draymond got into it one time.
Oh, tell me about that.
Yeah, me and Draymond got into it. This is the infamous, the Cavs come back from 3-1 situation. It was
2016.
Game 1. And here's the thing. This will always say that I could have stopped that from happening if Draymond would have listened to me. This is a true story. You can go, and it's online. You can look it up. I kid you not. It's Game 1, right? The Warriors beat down the Cavs by a lot in Game 1 of that series. But in that game, Draymond almost kicked Kyrie in the face with one of the high kicks. And remember, he was already on thin ice. Remember, he was already on thin ice.
The signature Draymond
because he had kicked
the only Rockette in the NBA.
Yeah, he had kicked old boy and Steve Adams in the balls.
Oh, that's right.
And remember, they gave him they could have. And remember, they were down 3-1 to OKC.
That's right.
And the NBA cut him a break and didn't suspend him. So Game 1, he almost kicks Kyrie in the face. Now the Warriors win. It's at the post-game press conference. He's up there. All I said to him was this. I said, "Hey, because social media was talking about how he almost kicked Kyrie, and that was my thing. I always like to ask questions about what's buzzing. I said, "Hey, Draymond, social media was talking a lot about your kick almost hit Kyrie in the face, and I just want to know what happened on that play, and do you think because of your situation, you should be try to be a little more careful with where you're putting your leg at, because you don't want to get suspended." You know what he said back to me? He said, "Did you think that I tried to kick him in the face?" And then I said back to him, I said, "That wasn't the question. The question was," and I swear to God, this is online, you guys can watch. I said, "No, I didn't say that you tried to kick him in the face. I said, should you be more aware of where your legs is at, because it's the finals and you feel on thin ice, blah blah blah." And Draymond with straight face looked at me and said, "I don't care what people think. This is my life. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and whatever happens, happens. I don't live by how you guys say about me and blah, blah, blah." So he really like a little tense back and forth between us, right?
Yeah.
Next day, talk to Draymond. Say, hey, man, I didn't mean anything, by. I'm just trying to say, that you know how the NBA is. This is game 2, in between game 1 and 2. Said, no problem. We squashed it. Asked him another question. Everything great, right? So what happens in game 5? Punches LeBron in the nuts.
Yeah.
What happens? He gets suspended.
Sure.
And you know what happens after that?
Of course. The rest is history.
Right. And I told him a couple of years later.
Some people think, by the way, that what happened after that is Draymond was suspended for the rest of the series. He was not.
That was not.
He did come back
Right.
for game 6
You can't blame the entire thing on that, but your question, you always have to, if Draymond's in game 5, the one where they had all the momentum, where it looked hopeless for the Cavs, would that had, been the end of it? And remember, he had to watch the game in the Oakland A's stadium. And I always say that interaction where people online, it was more like, oh, Draymond schooled this reporter. He did this. But in the end, I was trying to help him.
Yeah.
And he didn't listen. And he did what he was going to do. And then they ended up suspending him and stuff. So that's always a lesson. Like when I, just off topic a little bit, reporters don't know how to ask questions. I don't know if you ever watched those post-game press conferences. They're terrible. And these are like seasoned reporters. I don't know if they're scared of the players. I know they're scared of Westbrook. I know they're scared of Greg Popovich. But they don't ask questions in the proper way to get the players to talk.
And also a lot of guys who spend their life on a typewriter, on a computer, writing the written word. They don't tend to be the guys.
Yeah.
You're a special kind of journalist where you're writing incredible headlines, but you're also able.
But you're
like
social,
you said,
you're charismatic.
Yeah,
like a lot of them. Right. I agree with you. Like, and to be honest, that's why I can't watch any of those shows on ESPN.
Okay.
Because they're throwing these guys up on around the horn, and I just want to. I mean, for lack of a better term, be like, you're just a boring dork. Like, I don't give a shit what your opinion is. But you said they don't ask good questions. What's your approach then when you're going in to ask players, coaches, any of these questions?
Well, here's the thing. It's so simple because it's something that they teach you in elementary school is that, you don't ask closed-ended questions. You don't ask – like one of the dumbest questions you always hear is that after the game they say, can you tell us how you feel about that? Like I heard somebody ask James Harden that. James Harden came and said, hey, how do you feel about, losing to the Warriors again and getting, kicked out of the playoffs? How do you think he's going to fucking feel?
It's a dumb question. We all know the answer to.
He's not going to be happy about it. Like, so it's to me, I think the best way to do it is players are very into themselves. And I figured, hope LeBron's not watching because I used to do this to LeBron all the time because LeBron does not like stupid questions. If you ask LeBron a stupid question, he will,
he'll pick up his
purse and go.
Pick up his purse and walk out in his shorts.
But what I've learned about NBA players like that is they like talking about themselves, they like talking about their teammates, and they like talking about basketball. So if you make your question, more open-ended and about in general, if you go up to LeBron after a game and say, not even ask him about him and say, hey, LeBron, could you tell us, what you thought of Lonzo Ball's, pushing up the pace and helping you, get your assist. He'll go on for 30 minutes about everything that Lonzo Ball did in the game. If you ask LeBron, like, hey, LeBron, you guys gave up a lot of threes,
Sure, yeah. Stating the obvious.
Yeah, the guy asked Terry Stotts. He said, and it wasn't a bad question, but it's not what you ask. It's how you ask it.
Yeah.
And so they asked Terry Stotts. They said, hey, the
Rockets. The Steph Curry thing. I saw that.
Yeah, they had, the Rockets had success trapping Steph Curry. Why didn't you do that? It's not a bad question because we all were thinking it, but it makes him on defensive because, like, oh, well, the Rockets are smarter than you, I guess, Terry Stotts. You're a horrible coach. So instead of saying that, say, hey, Coach Stotts, I have a question. Can you go through, what you guys, when you're doing the pick and roll defense against Steph Curry, what is your thought process about that? How you felt that it went tonight, and what do you guys think you can do better in game 2 to shore that up a bit? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think you should do a BSO reporter training.
It's just it's the same question. We know the pick.
But you just rephrased it. I agree with you.
Yeah.
You're gonna solicit a much different
response.
Welcome
to BSO reporter training. We're gonna start with how not to be a white dork. It's
fun. It's a little irritating to me because we're quote unquote the blogs, so we're not supposed to know what we're doing. But I always say I got a little bit of an advantage because I went to journalism school for 4 years. I always wanted to do this. It's just I happened to get into this medium through the internet, but that's not how I was trained.
Yeah.
In journalism, I was trained the traditional way, but I used non-traditional methods. So it gives me an advantage. When I first started going to press conferences, they would be scared to ask me to ask a question because they had a stereotype about bloggers or people that did websites. They felt like we were going to say something, stupid or ignorant or something like that, or we didn't really, know what we were talking about.
And now the bloggers are, the leaders of the sports.
Yeah.
Woj is a blogger.
Yeah. I've went to press conferences, and I didn't. Here's the thing: I don't ask questions if I don't have any to say. Like that's another thing. If you don't.
How many press credentials do you like? Do you just when you go to represent Black Sports Online? Is it mostly you? Like, do you have a team with you?
I have a team because I can't go everywhere.
Yeah,
and I like to give other people opportunities, and
sure.
I coach them up on what to do. I used to when it was literally just me. I used to go everywhere, like because I wanted to establish my credibility. Yeah. I think that's the balance between people respecting the silly stuff that we do. But they can also turn on the TV and see me at a fight or see me at a game or see me there. And I think that's one of also the reasons that the players respect me as well and don't give me a hard time because they know that I know the difference between, okay, we're going to talk about the Kardashians and Tristan Thompson. But if we're in game 3 of the NBA Finals and we're in Cleveland and, he's having a hard time, dealing with, the Warriors, I'm not going to ask him, hey, what's up with Chloe? Like there's a time and place for that, but I'm also right there in his face.
When Tristan's at a press conference post-game and they're like, who do you want a question from? He's like, the guy with the black men don't cheat t-shirt. Let me talk to that guy. I'll take all your questions, sir.
So it's definitely a time and place. But once again, is if you write those stories, and this is maybe the most important thing, I've never been one. I always say anything that I write, I would talk to somebody, the player, the entertainer, in their face about it.
Yeah.
So if you didn't like a story, and I'm telling you what my name is, and I know you've read my stuff, I'm right here if you want to, talk about it. Now, I've had players approach me and say their piece.
Who's gone off on you? Like who in particular is like, fuck you, Robert, fuck your website? Has anybody ever come up to you and done that?
Nobody's ever, like, cursed me out or anything like that. It's, some people will correct. They would,
You know what I think you should do? I think you should start going. I think we should. Maybe this could be my role because obviously I'm a big, huge supporter, fan of Black Sports Online. You need to start going.
He needs a diversity hire.
Yeah. No, here's what you need. You need to go to like the dog show and send me representing like Black Sports Online.
No. Here's the thing. It's not just black reporters. I've had white reporters.
No. I know that, but I'm joking. Like to me that would be hilarious if like I'm at an event which you deem like basically traditionally all white people.
Oh, I see.
To where I'm like, yeah, there's Andy over here, at the Westminster Dog Show.
It's funny that I've done that before. Like I've done NASCAR.
Yeah.
I've done IndyCar. I've done tennis. I've done the Masters.
Wow,
that's great.
Imagine me. I was at the Masters. This was years ago, and that was my pitch to them. I was like, "How many black media websites have you ever had covering the Masters?"
They probably said none.
Yeah, they had none. So it was a little bit of like they're trying to look more diverse, but it was me like, "Hey, I'm covering the the Masters." It was, like wow, I'm covering the U.S. Open, stuff like that. So I've done that because I feel like I never forget one time I went to a Big Ten championship football game, and it was Ohio State and Wisconsin, and we were up in the press box, and the press box is a long row or something, and I looked from this side to this side, and no offense to you, everyone looked like you.
Oh, none taken.
No, like literally just like you. Like they literally look just like you. And it's probably like 100 seats.
A lot of people said that about the Charlottesville pictures too. A lot of guys, just like Andy.
Just like and I was like, something. This is not,
Yeah.
If it's one job I have, and I hope that I've achieved, is when I started doing this, I was always the youngest and the only black guy at a lot of these events. Now, and there was always no black women either. So now I see a little bit better. When I go places, I see younger guys, I see black guys, I see black women, and I'm hoping that I help. Because I remember when I first did the NBA Finals, they literally told me, somebody took me aside and said, hey, if you mess this up, you'll never come back again. So don't mess it up.
Really?
And I'm not saying – I don't know if they said that to everybody that started the first time. So I don't know. Maybe that's just initiation. I think the person that was telling me wasn't telling me in a way that they were threatening me. They were telling me like, I'm giving you a heads up.
They were doing what you did to Draymond.
Right.
Like, hey man, just be careful.
Yeah, they were giving me a heads up, like they're giving you an opportunity.
Yeah.
Don't blow it.
Don't. Yeah.
Now the question is always, would they had said that if I looked like you?
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they would. Maybe it is. But then again, I hear a lot of stupid questions from people, and they come back every year. So I don't know. But it's a pressure.
But it's not an issue now for you, right?
No, not at all.
Because your site's so big.
No, not at all. Like and that's the thing. I hope that those type of conversations, that I've had with the NFL and UFC and others, I hope the next me's don't have to have that conversation because the people in charge said, hey, well, Rob been here for 5 years and it's been great. So let's give 3 more people an opportunity. That's always been a big thing of mine, of to break down a barrier to get other people, opportunities and not have to worry about it. So, and that's why it's important to me to still go, to make sure that people see my face, see how
before you create Black Sports Online, like and I've read your thing on your website. It's like, what coming from like the black culture, like there wasn't anything out there, right?
Right. So, I went to Ohio State, which is a lot of white people, and my goal initially in life was to be on Sports Center.
Okay.
ESPN.
Funny, we both had that same mutual goal.
Yeah.
Look at us now. Now you're sitting on a couch in Venice Beach,
yeah,
Robert.
Yeah. So I wanted to be Stuart Scott. I wanted to be Craig Kilborn. That was my initial goal. It was just solely about me. And what happened was
Kilborn reference, by the way, just warmed my heart.
Yeah, I love Craig Kilborn.
He loves Kilborn.
I love Craig Kilborn. When I saw Craig Kilborn do a Tupac reference on SportsCenter, I was sold. Back then. So that's all I really wanted to do. And then what happened was, and not to get all up into my life story.
No, that's all right.
After graduation, things that, when you graduate from college kids, and if you're in college right now, let me just tell you, do your internships, make your connections, try to have your job lined up well before you graduate, because I went through the motions, but I graduated, which I'm proud of. But then they're like, see you later.
Yeah.
And I had
what now?
Forever.
I had nothing. I had a degree, and I thought talent, but I didn't have any practical experience, and I was just thrown out there into the world, and I didn't know what to do. So I was working odd jobs. It wasn't a good time for me in my life. And the reason that I created the website was more so for my own sanity, because I felt like I was wasting my degree. But the reason that I called it Black Sports Online was, I don't know if you've ever read the story, but I was watching Joe Buck call Randy Moss. He had caught a touchdown in Green Bay, and he fake mooned and I saw Bob Costa call him a thug, and said it was thuggish behavior, and said a lot of coded words that no, Joe Buck, not Bob Costa. It's Joe Buck. I'm gonna get the right person, but. I was like, man, this is really, awful.
Sure. To call someone a thug for a fake mooning.
Yeah, because, from where I come from, what a real thug is.
Sure.
You know what a real criminal is.
They're not mooning a lot of people.
They're not playing football. They're not mooning,
Yeah.
So, but sometimes I think, those stereotypes are out there. And I said to myself, man, we need some sort of
voice.
A voice, a watchdog to say, hey, this is not, right. Because back then there was nothing out there. So I'm like, I'm going to be that voice. Now, I was young and ambitious. People were telling me not to do it because they're like, you can't put black in front of your name. You'll never go mainstream like that. You're minimizing your audience and everything. But I was hard-headed, and I did it. I was not knowing, what the future was, going to hold. And people ask me now, well, in retrospect, would you have named it, Black Sports Online? I said, well, if I started today, no. But I don't think I would be where I'm at today if I didn't do it. I use the Jay-Z line where, he says, I sold drugs, so, Hov did that, so you hopefully wouldn't have to go through that.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a good point, because I think what happens is, right, you start with your audience and you start with your base, and then from there it can branch out, because I think now we're more generally, obviously, we have a lot of problems, but I think more. My point is, I think someone who's not necessarily black would be more willing to check it out and be accepting. They wouldn't care.
Yeah, in 2019, for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In 2019 versus 2005.
I mean, Andy reads it to start and end his day. He's the whitest person of all time.
Well, I always equate it to like rap music, right? Rap music, for the most part, is a black culture type of thing. But you don't become, if every black person, if only black people listen to Drake, he wouldn't, be selling all these. If only black people just listen to Lil Yachty or whoever these, like you can't be a super successful just strictly with one race of people.
Yeah.
So when people say that to me, like, there's no way that BSO be successful if the only readers that I ever had were just, black. And it was never an exclusion type of thing. It was like, it wasn't like I only wanted black people to read my site.
This is your viewpoint, not your target audience.
Yeah, it was my target audience was I always wanted to be a national guy. I never wanted to be a local guy. Like I take that from Juice. Like the movie Juice. Like, I don't want to be local. I always wanted to be big. I always wanted to be
you got
national.
the juice now, Robert.
Yeah. So to me, I feel like sometimes I think I really just sit back and think, like, not the impossible, but it's to cross over the way that I have and still survive in a time where so many sites have died by the wayside. It shows that my audience and my readers are well versed and well diversified in a lot of different things.
Andy's White Sports Online website only lasted a month before he had to close up.
Because
he heard Joe Buck talking about white wide receivers always being coachable and
White Sports
great
Online.
route runners. Seemed real coded for bad athletes.
Shit.
Do you know about at least 10 people have tried to start White Sports Online?
Shut the fuck up.
No, it's true. In some sort of defiance against me. And I always tell them, they're like, well, what if we start White Sports? I was like, go ahead.
Do you get, like, I'm curious, do you get people like sending you hate and racist shit because it's Black Sports Online like all the time?
There was a time where it was real heavy. It was probably maybe
November 2016.
Yeah. It there was a time that I couldn't go a day or two without some crazy email, without a lot of DMs, a lot of tweets and stuff like that. This is where I have to credit my fiance a lot, because I've always been taught to fight back.
Yeah.
Like, you don't punch first, but if somebody's coming at you, you defend yourself. So I spent probably way too much time talking to these people about
Sorry, I'm looking at Joe because he does this all the time, and I'm thinking maybe you could take out a page out of Robert's book over here. He loves fighting people.
Yeah, so I mean that was my thing. I like, if you said something, it didn't matter to me who you were, I would do it. But she, really got me to understand that when you're at a certain, the cliche, but you don't feed the trolls. Yeah. They need you.
Sure.
For the attention. That's why they're saying all of the crazy stuff. So when I got a little more mellow, and I'm older now, and I've accomplished, and that was the other thing, I was trying to accomplish something, so it would make me angry. But after you've, done
achieved so much,
it's like, and I have a very blessed lifestyle, very, happy, life. At that point you're like, just let them, talk, say what they're gonna say.
Yeah. So maybe we'll get to that point.
Maybe.
Even though
I just need a good woman in my life.
That's what it is.
Even though today Joe tweeted you were trying to get Republican trolls coming at you.
Yeah. I wrote an abortion joke, and I needed some anger. I needed some angry people in my mentions today. I've been dealing with too many angry people in real life. I was like, I need some good old fashioned Twitter flames.
And I shouldn't. And I'm busting Joe's balls a little, but I shouldn't just put it on him, because I'm the same way too. Like, I get fired up. I go through. Obviously we're a sports show. We're comedians. We have passionate opinions about players, about politics, about whatever. But I fall into that too. And it's just our joke now on our show, which I've loved, which Joe created, is if these people who don't want to agree with facts, we call them flat earthers. So basically, it's like, you would understand. It's kind of like, to bring like Colin Kaepernick into it. When we say he's been blackballed and he should be in the league. And you know, I can sit there and say, take all the other stuff out of it. I don't care. Like, take all that out of it. If we just want to look at his stats and what he's accomplished on the football field, he's better than all these players, right? And then people want to come at us, and then we're just like, you know, you're either, you know, Joe's always saying you're either a racist, or I'm just saying you just don't believe in facts, because at the end of the day, he's fucking been blackballed, plain and simple. But people, they'll argue with you till the end of the day because they don't want to see facts in their face.
And, you know, that's another thing, is that those type of people, like you said, they don't care about the reality of the situation. And I remember a time that we had did some story, and it was one of the gossipy type of stories. I won't even lie. It was a gossipy type of story. And somebody was really, really mad at me. And they're like, you always do this gossip. You never, ever cover sports and blah, blah, blah. And I just happened to be at the NFL draft. And I took a picture of me at the NFL draft, like right in the front, you know, where everything was going on. I was like, well, I'm technically doing sports right now. I've been tweeting about the draft for the last, 2 hours, and we did all of these draft stories. You know, like, we did that, but, you can also follow this. And you know what the person told me? They said, well, you only do sports when it's convenient for you. Just totally move the goalposts from, you never do this, you never cover anything, you only do gossip stories, to me saying, hey, I'm actually credentialed here, covering sports, doing stories on this, to, well, you do that when when it's convenient for you. And it hit me like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I could do, I always tell people, like, take your favorite journalist, whoever it is, right? And I mean, it's not even a flex, right? But I'm like, I could put down everything that I've covered, like in person as a journalist, credential, next to any of your journalist people, and it would match up, or it would be better. You don't see too many people that say, hey, I've covered a Super Bowl, a World Series, an NBA Finals, Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, the biggest UFC fight, all the McGregor fights, NASCAR, IndyCar, golf, tennis. I've put people in place to do it. College football playoffs, college baseball playoffs. What the hell am I doing at college baseball playoffs? And as a credential media person, I've interviewed people like Samuel L. Jackson, Kevin Hart. I've gone to premieres of the biggest movies of all time. But all they can say is, well, you talk about the Kardashians too much.
Yeah.
So people just will want, they're
going to pick and they're going to cherry pick.
Yeah, so it's like.
And they're going to choose and think what they want to believe and not look at the full picture.
Right.
By the way, our intern's chomping at the bit here. I think he's got some hot fire from the chat section.
We got hot fire.
We have a diversity hire over here. Our Native American intern
Am I good?
chiming in.
Yeah, so we had a comment, actually, I thought it was pretty interesting. It was more of a question for Robert. They're asking, Robert, any advice for dirtballs, which are the followers of the show, any advice for dirtballs wanting to break into the sports blogging world with how competitive it currently is? Yeah,
so right now, like I said, it's different than when I started. I just had a website. That's all I had.
Yeah.
Now you have to be well-versed in so many different things. So you have to have your YouTube show. You got to have your Twitter. You got to have your Facebook. You got to have your Instagram. You got to have all of that now. And I would say it's moving more toward a visual medium.
Yeah.
So put your face on camera. I don't care if it's on live, if it's on YouTube Live, Facebook Live. You should be giving your thoughts and takes on video every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And if you want to be, still write about stuff, but right now you will get a job quicker in media if they see that you can attract a following from whatever you're talking about. So not that you shouldn't go to school or you shouldn't do anything like that, but we see now that even if you're doing that, you got to engage almost 24/7 because they're right. It's much more of it's much more flooded than it was when I started. I would have a harder time starting if I was 25 now.
Yeah, it is hard. It's oversaturated.
It would be different. I mean, I think one of the things I got lucky with is that I was there a little bit before everything got crazy. So I had a built-in fan base to come with me when I started, the things. But now, like I said, you have to be out there every single day doing something.
Are you nervous now? We've been at this for a little about an hour and 10 minutes. Are you nervous that you've missed some breaking stories? I see you got your backpack over there.
You know something?
Is there
Right.
anxiety, Robert,
Right.
that you missed the latest Tristan Thompson
Yeah.
with a thought, not a tot, a thought?
Yeah.
Is there some anxiety going on over here?
Let me tell you guys something, and this is a true story.
By the way, the Tristan Thompson story is sort of with thoughts and tots.
Thoughts,
She
yeah.
had a baby, right?
Oh, little
yeah.
tot.
So
You know,
it was that he was hanging out with thoughts while he had
Yeah.
a tot. It's like
there was a time that the site was all-consuming to me.
Yeah.
Meaning that I didn't sleep.
I was going to say, how you sleep,
Yeah,
man?
I didn't sleep. I didn't go out. I was scared. I didn't want to do anything because something may happen. I would pull over in gas stations and do stories and stuff. There was a time where it was all-consuming to me. And honestly, sometimes you got to do that to get to where you need to go.
Yeah.
But it became a point where it had taken over, my life. I wasn't living.
Sure.
The site was doing well, and I was making money, and I was popular and everything, but I wasn't happy
Yeah.
with myself because it had just taken over, my life. And it was one of the reasons why I actually moved out here was because in St. Louis, and it's not a lot to do.
Yeah.
So I would,
quality of life.
yeah, and it could be a little overcast a lot and rain
Oh,
and
it
cold.
gets depressing, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
so I would sit in my little, office, and there's no light coming in, and it was, like I said, the site was doing well, it was doing great, but I felt like my years were wasting away.
Sure.
So
How long have you been in Long Beach now? Like, when did you make the move from the Midwest to?
I'm 2.5 years in now.
And
so-
will you head back to the Midwest eventually? Or you think?
No,
No?
never. I might move somewhere, but it's always going to be somewhere warm. I can tell you that. But now, just to answer your question, is that
You don't miss the Sonic drive-throughs and the
no.
Applebee's?
You miss those courtesy diners?
Yeah, the Steak and Shake. They got the Steak and Shake. And White Castles. That's the one thing I do miss.
Did you ever go to Courtesy Diner?
Yeah, I have been.
Did you ever get a slinger?
No, I don't like those.
I know. I love them.
I didn't like those. Yeah, but now, it's I've learned to work-life balance is what they
Yeah.
call it now. To realize, hey, you can't get to every story. You can't be the first
Sure.
at every story. You have to. What's the point of doing all of this and being successful and just being
And
locked
the great
into
thing is, if you're going to write the best headline, you don't have to be first.
Yeah, and I've learned ways to get around stuff like that. And, I think one of the things you probably saw me as, I learned that on being on the West Coast that day, there's a lot of people up at 10 p.m. here. It's 1 a.m. on the East Coast. But the West
It's
Coast
such
people,
an advantage, isn't it?
Yeah. So, you may get the late start, but I do a lot of my stories, the more salacious ones, at night.
Oh, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so
that's where I'm getting the good
stuff.
news.
So I do the salacious stories at night, and what happens is I wake up and I already have a good amount of views because overnight, there's a lot of people that like that type of stuff, and then I stick to kind of more of the sports.
Also, 1, 2 in the morning here is 4 or 5 in the morning in New York.
So
you
it's
get
the
that
early.
up. The first thing,
First thing
you're
they
already
see.
online. Your story's already up when they wake up at 6 a.m.
Yeah, so I live life a little bit more, but I do always keep the laptop close just in case something goes down.
I love it. Well, look, if you need a break, Joe, I'm thinking if Robert needs a break, if he wants to maybe go relax. I know your Mets are in town. We could go to a Dodgers game next week. Aren't the Mets coming to town next week?
Mets are in town. Well, the last week of the month. I think they get here the 27th.
My girl's a big Dodgers fan.
Big
So,
Dodgers
yeah,
fan.
yeah.
Well, Robert, I got a deal for you. If
Okay.
you want to save a few bucks, I know you're killing the game with Black Sports Online, but if you download the SeatGeek app, which Joe and I have on our phones, I know intern Aaron has. All the listeners, if you don't have it, download the SeatGeek app now because it's the best app out there for sports, comedy, concerts, you guys name it. And best of all the listeners get $10 off their first SeatGeek purchase. Guys, if you haven't downloaded SeatGeek, I don't know what you're waiting for. SeatGeek supports our show, so we hope you support them as well. Use our promo code DIRTY for $10 off your first purchase. Again, you can use that for concert tickets, sports, comedy, whatever you want. Remember, that's promo code DIRTY for $10 off your first purchase. And the same deal applies. If you send me a screenshot of you using promo code DIRTY on SeatGeek, I will send you 2 free beer koozies. And, yeah, I want to check out, I believe it's Memorial Weekend, right? When the Mets are in town?
Yeah.
Let's.
I think they're here. Yeah, I think maybe Memorial Day is the first game. Monday. Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're here for 4.
I was looking at the Mets schedule. So
The Tuesday game right now will be DeGrom start as scheduled. So,
okay.
So that's I'm eyeing up that one.
See, we were getting you talking. Now
I
you
gotta check what's going on.
now you got to see what's going on. Are your mentions just on fire?
Normally throughout the day, yeah, it's a lot going on.
Like how much time a day do you think you're looking at your phone?
Too much.
Too much.
Too much. It's throughout, especially the middle of the day. It's a lot. It's too much. Honestly, I wish.
That's why you don't have time to have a team. You're like,
Yeah,
I don't have time
yeah.
to say I'm on the Lakers bandwagon because I'm too busy creating the stories.
Well, the thing is, you want to drive traffic. You got to have engagement.
Yeah.
So I want to talk. There used to be a time when I first was on Twitter, I would answer every single reply. Like if nobody replies, I would reply. Like I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But I still try to engage with the people, engage with the stories, because that helps push the stories,
Sure.
Out. And I will like to say I like to do a lot of, social justice type of stuff. It's kind of my.
What would you deem like a social justice thing?
We see, racism, blatant
Yeah.
racism out there. Like we did 2 stories today. One was a guy cursing out some black guys in a restaurant, calling them monkeys.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
The other one was the racist promposal where they spell out the N-word.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, so I do those because I feel like that's another way to give back.
You went hard at Joey Bosa, I saw.
It wasn't Joey Bosa. A lot of people got that confused.
Okay.
Because a lot of people
Because you as an alumni,
yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Well, I always tell people I'm black first and then everything else, second.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, so I can't get away from that. But it wasn't Joey Bosa in and of itself that bothered me a lot. You're right, it did, because most of the stories don't bother me. I don't really care what.
Yeah.
But that bothered me not because of Joey Bosa, because I know there's a lot of players in all sports that have those type of feelings, and it's perfectly fine for him to have his political affiliations.
Yeah.
I don't care that part. I really don't care about. My issue was that if that was a black player, and he was talking fight the power and we need to overthrow Trump and this and that and other, and he had liked homophobic pages and he was following black militant people that said that they would shoot up everybody and stuff like that. If that was the same prospect and he was black, it would have been talked about. It would have been brought up during the show, because they literally bring up every bad thing about every prospect anyway. But I found out that they intentionally were told not to talk about it.
Interesting.
It was a cover-up.
Yeah.
And thankfully, people did speak, the local media kind of spoke, but it's just things are unfair as it is. It's like all I want is fairness. Like you have to speak about, if you're going to say you got one player in a Colin Kaepernick, like you talked about, that literally is blackballed for all he said was, I would like racism in and police to stop, killing people. Not what's bad about that?
Right.
But then you can have somebody else and they can say, it's not a big deal. It's such and such and such. It's just that type of hypocrisy in media has always been something that, bugs me. So if they weren't going to talk about it, what I was going to do? I was going to force them to talk about it. So I felt good about that, because even if he didn't want to address it or they didn't want to address it, I was going to keep pushing it until somebody, addressed it.
Well, let me ask you this, because we're talking about tweets and a lot of tweets, and Joe and I have talked about this in depth. What's your stance on, because we always say, Joe even has a joke about it in his act of at a certain age, you're dumb, you're ignorant, on tweets. At what point for you as a guy running a sports blog are you saying, well, look, somebody tweeted something at 14, they're a fucking idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not developed, you're not mature, you're ignorant. You know what I'm saying? At what point for you do you say that's something somebody did at 14? They're 25 now. Who gives a shit? Do you?
I think it's conceptually what the tweets are. I think at a certain age, at 14, if some white guy likes, he likes Kendrick Lamar, and he's tweeting a lyric that happens to have the N-word in it, it's kind of hard to jump from that to this is a hardcore racist,
sure.
kid. And they're 14, they're 16, they're 17, and if we had that available to us at that age, who knows what we would have said. I do think at a certain point you have to look at a pattern though of stuff, and that was the thing with Bosa. It wasn't it wasn't, Colin Kaepernick's a clown and I like Trump, okay? Well, you don't like Black Panther. You don't like Beyonce. Like, there's a pattern of, like, anything that's a little bit too pro-black, you're pushing back against.
Yeah.
So I do think, like, I think it was another prospect that got drafted. And he had some, you're gay, you're such and such, like what kids say a lot of times when and I didn't even write about it because I don't think that was, a big deal. But if you are continuing that pattern, like the wrestler that they just caught, Lars Sullivan for the WWE, he was 30. He started at,
What was his thing? I don't follow it.
Yeah, his thing was,
Was it like racist stuff?
Yeah, it was a lot of white supremacy stuff and Mexicans and black people need to go back to Africa. It was that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But it started when he was in his early 20s.
He's a grown man.
But it goes up.
Yeah.
So I think each and every case is a different case. But here's the real problem with it. When you get caught doing anything, you always say, I didn't mean it. Or I'm going to do better.
Yeah.
Or that doesn't reflect me at the time. Like, ask any dude that cheated on his girlfriend, right? What does he say? I never do it again. It was a weak moment. But only that guy truly knows the real reason.
Sure.
So Joey Bosa could, is he saying it to keep his job? We don't know.
We don't know. Yeah.
And I always tell that about players, good, bad, or ugly. You don't know that player. Like, and I'm not saying this to try to start the controversy, right? I think Steph Curry is the nicest guy of all time. Met him, talked to him, interviewed him, all of this stuff. Still don't know him. You still obviously don't know what's going on in that household. That his wife's like, I got a boob job and I did all of this. Like, you don't know what's happening when they're not on the court, when they're not. And some athletes are really good at manipulating the media. So when I see racist
Steph's
stuff,
really good at basketball. Just seems like maybe he practices too much.
I mean,
Aisha's just at home.
Yeah.
Just needing attention.
You
It's
just
like, dude, the 2-hour dribble fest before every game.
And that's
Stay
okay.
at home.
And
Dribble your wife a little bit.
And it's okay, like, to not know. But I think sometimes we idolize, we demonize, we go high extremes, and we don't know who these players, really are. They could be good guys, they could be bad guys, they could be just regular guys. So when they put stuff out there on social media, no matter how old they are, you don't know if they're the same guy.
Sure.
So you just got to kind of hope.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I think people are who they show you that they are.
Yeah, it's just like it's just wild the age we live in and just people, have things that are just stuck there forever. And then, I think what you're saying is the best way to look at it is every situation's different.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I fully agreed with how, for example, Kevin Hart handled his situation because I was like, he already addressed it. These are tweets, they're 10 years ago. Like if you genuinely think Kevin Hart has an issue with black people, you're just mistaken. He doesn't. Like he's not the type of person. But here we
gay people.
Well, did I say black? I'm sorry. I meant gay people.
I hope Kevin Hart doesn't have a problem with black people.
but that's what I'm saying. It's like that situation is then different than remember when Villanova was playing the finals. I mean,
they got
DiVincenzo, they're bringing up tweets about him talking about eating ass at 14. Well, first off, you're eating ass at 14.
Highly evolved.
Yeah,
highly evolved.
Good for you, bro.
I think we all should.
That's my Italian boys right there.
we should all evolve. I give you a perfect example. And what you're saying is that what it was cool or funny and so I used to do a story. And we used to use a hashtag for the story. And the story was always for the bros. And all it was if it was a young woman in entertainment or sports, IG model or whatever. And we would just put the pictures in the video. If they posted, and it was never nothing like we were looking for weird. They were like, these were public posts. Yeah. So, if Ashanti or whatever, posted some swimsuit pictures, we'd be like, here's Ashanti in her swimsuit pictures for the bros. Because, that's what guys like to look at,
for
right?
sure.
But as the climate changed.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? Like, we could still do the same story, but we couldn't use the same
hashtag
terminology because it's a different climate. Like I said, we did this probably 2015, and it was very popular stories, and nobody really cared. Yeah, it was for the when it came up, it's like, it's the For the Bros post. Sure. People, but 2017, 2018, you see these things happening. Now we have to rephrase that title, so it's not anymore like.
Now it's for the cisgender bros.
It's like it's like it's like if we say we can't say Ashanti's thirst trapping on Instagram for the bros.
Thirst trapping.
So we can't say it like that. We have to.
Can I use that term?
Yeah, But see, we can't say it because that's not. It's in the climate. It's not right. So we have to change it a little bit and say Ashanti shows off, new bikini photos on Instagram. It has to.
Damn, you can't use thirst trapping.
Has to be a little lighter and a little bit more sensitive, and that we can't say, Ashanti, ass shaking for the bros, such and such. We have to say Ashanti dances at concert, promoting her album. Like we have to soften it up because look, I don't want any backlash for that.
You have a business to run,
right? Like when 6, 7, 8 years ago, when certain topics would come up on Twitter, topics that had nothing to do with BSO. They were just the topic of the day. I would jump in because you know what? I had opinions, be it on women or parenting or vacations or flyouts or whatever. I would throw my 2 cents in. And sometimes my 2 cents was not the majority take on it. But who cared? It was 2009. We were all like that.
Yeah.
But in 2019, I see some topics like, you see like the abortion topic that's big now. I stay away from it. Not that I don't have an opinion on it.
Sure.
It has nothing to do with me, and it has nothing to do with BSO. This is a woman's topic, a woman's issue, and you just don't want to be misquoted or misunderstood. And even if you're saying something, perfectly within your mind, your opinion, and it has all of this, black. Because trust me, I remember the Derrick Rose rape case.
Yeah.
That case. I knew some personal things about
Whatever happened with that, by the way?
He won.
Okay.
And that was it. And I knew some personal things about that case and some personal things about what really happened. And maybe I overstepped a little bit in speaking about it because the sensitivity of the matter is we're talking about rape. So you gotta, like I said, in 2018, 19.
Just because you have facts doesn't mean you're not victim shaming.
Yeah. So sometimes now I don't. Like, you see me on social media a lot with my stories, but you don't necessarily see me debating and going back and forth because it's a no-win situation.
I get it. Yeah. No, I feel you. And I can totally relate to that. I was thinking today, actually, when I saw your abortion tweet, I haven't really stepped foot in the political arena for a few months now just because of that. Because it's like it's like I was looking at the responses under your tweet, where people are quick to then label you lefty, and it's like, no, you guys are just you're taking one tweet and you're trying to summarize this guy's entire political spectrum when you know nothing about him, or the same thing for you.
And you don't, and they don't even investigate enough to go to the bio and see the first word, which is comedian.
Exactly.
Right.
And then so everything from this point on is a joke. I mean, now the joke had a lot of truth in it, but there was still a joke.
No, exactly. Okay, so we've been going on here. I'm wondering, do we want to play the game?
We got to play for a little bit. It's like what drew him in the first place?
Before we let Robert go, I know he's got headlines to publish, but here's the thing. Before we play the game, I texted Joe this. This is so funny to me. From our last real or fake game, I wrote a fake headline.
Right.
Which became fucking real.
Really?
So this is from February. This was a week after the Robert Kraft thing broke.
Uh-huh.
I wrote this as a fake headline. All we knew at that point.
This is Andy's calling, by the way. Andy's actually not better at anything than writing headlines that I confuse as yours.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I like low key. I mean, Joe's been saying this. Like, I think
he's been studying your style.
I think I'd be a good writer for you. I wrote this in February when all we knew was that the whole sex ring and
Robert Kraft massage scandal.
When it busted, but there was no details. I wrote this in February. Leaked info reveals Robert Kraft had woman at massage parlor shove a finger in his butt. Video being held by Florida law enforcement officials. Twitter reacts.
Wow.
Yo,
and
dude,
what's the headline now?
Wow.
Basically, that's what happened.
That's what happened. That was the headline.
that
was the headline.
She was shoving a finger in his ass.
Yeah.
It came out like a couple months later.
Sure it did. That was the
and
exact thing.
that they were withholding the video.
And it had a Twitter reacts to the end of it. That's amazing. That's crazy.
Dude, I fucking foresaw the future. Okay. Okay, so are we doing this with Robert or with you, Joe?
I think he should just play along. I'll just be here for riffing purposes.
I feel like Robert's gonna know though.
He's gonna know his own
That's it.
headlines, but it'll still be funny.
Go
to
ahead.
see.
Okay, is
But
this
see, if you'd have told me that one, I'd be like, maybe I did right.
is this real or fake?
All right, real or fake?
Snoop Dogg tells Donald Trump to suck a fat dick in wild Instagram story. Twitter reacts.
That's fake.
He knew instantly.
That's fake.
Okay.
Would you put "suck a dick" in your headline?
No, that's
see,
why.
that's
Yeah.
That's a good point. Okay, real
2019. It's not saying "suck a dick" in a headline. Come on, Andy.
Real or fake? Meek Mill comments on Kourtney Kardashian's fat ass on Instagram.
That's real.
Yeah, that is real.
That is real. I remember when that happened.
But you will write fat ass on this.
Yeah, fat ass. Yeah. I think that's what he said. He said she had a fat ass.
Yeah, that's exactly because you have it in quotes, fat ass.
That's the thing. That's always just the truth. That's what it is.
Okay. Real or fake? Kim Kardashian wears see-through shirt and then complains about cold weather in Canada.
That's fake.
That is fake.
Okay, that was a close one. 'Cause I've done some Kim Kardashian see-through shirts. I had to think about that one. The Canada is what threw you off. You would have said something like somewhere else, like Calabasas or something. I might have thought that was real.
Okay. Okay. So
Now it's really just a challenge. Can you get him on any of it? If we can get one, I feel like
was
you'll
close.
have accomplished
Okay.
something.
I had to think about that. one.
okay. Real or fake headline? Former AAU coach arrested for having sex with minor, blames dating app Tinder because her age was listed as 19. Real or fake Black Sports Online headline?
That's fake.
That is fake.
Oh, that was close one. That was a close one. You almost got me. These are really good. That sounds like exactly how I would put that. Yeah.
Robert, are you hiring?
No, that was
How
a
many?
good one.
How many of these do you write a day usually too? Because like what I'm surprised is like you're definitely thinking about it because you don't remember everything you've written.
30,
for sure.
35 a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You write 30 to 35 a day.
30, 35 a day. Yeah.
Okay, real or fake? Tigger claims he is to Kylie Jenner what Ray J was to Kim Kardashian. Listen to him speak about how he is responsible for her success.
That's real.
It's 100% real.
Yeah, that's real. The thing is, I know my style. So
Yeah.
even though if they're slightly close to mine, there's certain keywords I know that I wouldn't have said or would say. That's what's good. It's not that the stories sound all real.
Okay, real or fake?
Uh-huh.
R. Kelly's first meal after being bailed out of jail was a Whopper with fries from Burger King, where he signed autographs and took pictures with fans in Chicago.
That's fake because it was McDonald's. If you put McDonald's, it's real.
Man, you're
I-
good.
I have
He
pretty
is
good memory.
fucking good.
I have pretty good memory.
Yeah. Okay.
This is how you write them so good. You're just changing little shit to try to get me.
Yeah.
Okay, real or fake? Racist Florida store owner posts no English, no service sign in front of store and is confronted by angry mob.
That's fake.
That's 100% fake.
Yeah, because you said mob.
What would you have said?
So read it again, Owen.
Racist Florida store owner posts no English, no service sign in front of store and then is confronted by angry mob.
See, at the bottom, the last part, I would have said whatever happened. So if you'd have got like punched or smacked, I would say confronted by customers who then in turn beat him over the head with a bat.
Okay.
It would have been a little more descriptive of what happened when
Picks
the
and
mob.
vid.
It picks and vid, yes.
Okay, real or fake? Watch IG model. Fuck it. You already know that's real.
That's
'Cause
real.
you, now that I'm realizing you
That's real.
coined IG model.
Yeah.
This one was watch IG model scream in pain after she visits the Swimming Pigs exhibit from Fire Festival and pig takes a bite out of her butt cheek.
Yeah.
Pics and vids.
That did happen.
I can't stump him. Robert, you are amazing. You know your headlines. You know how to write them. But what do you think, man? Am I on that right track?
You are on the right track. The whole thing is look, I was told by a professor a long time ago. He said, it doesn't matter if you write 5,000 words. If you don't catch them in the headline, nobody will ever read. So that's the most important thing. It's not what you're saying, it's the visual sense. Like if somebody told me a pig is going to bite an IG model ass, I don't even care what else is happening. I'm curious.
You want to see
I
that
wanna
video
see
or
that.
watch the pics?
See that. And
Let's look at the
that's
pics.
all the key is to the headline. And people also like to, like you said, they want to see reactions. They want to see if their tweet made the Twitter reactions and stuff.
And that's also a reason I love looking at your tweets is that what I love just as much as the long headline, the responses to your actual
Right.
headline.
That's what
Like-
I'm looking for.
Like, you get some great responses to the fucking tweet, which is amazing.
I've had responses do better than the story.
Yeah.
Like other people respond. You know, I have something like 500 retweets, and then somebody say something real slick in the replies, and they have 1,000, 1,500. You know, but that's all good because it always helps.
It all goes
the
back to
story.
you.
Yeah, always goes back to me.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time,
Oh,
man.
man, it was great. I had a great time.
It's been a pleasure. We got to bring you back, man.
Yeah, now that I know where I'm going, yeah.
Maybe maybe we can get an extra press credential. Bring me along one of these things. What do we think?
Hey, how about the next time that there's a world premiere, you come along with me?
Oh, for real?
Yeah, for real.
Let's fucking do it.
Yeah. So they normally give me a little. You can be my +1.
I can be your +1.
Yeah,
now,
plus
now will the fiance care?
She doesn't like superhero stuff.
Okay.
So I can be like, hey, babe, you want to go see the new Spider-Man movie with me? And she'll give me this.
Yeah.
That's what she gives me. That look. It's really sexy, but it's, yeah.
You're like, I'm gonna take a white boy instead. Then.
Yeah. That's okay. She's okay.
Well, normally I don't go to those movies, but with you,
Yeah,
I would love to be your +1.
Yeah, go +1. See
Guys.
Samuel L. Jackson or something.
If you're not following Robert on all social media at BSO, download the app. That's my go-to on your platform is the app.
Appreciate it.
As I sit on my iPhone laying in bed. That's
Appreciate
what I go to.
Awesome.
Is there anything else that you want to promote or plug?
Go to Facebook, Black Sports Online, and the Instagram is BSO TV. And like I said, go to the site every day. I can guarantee you're going to get something you love, something you laugh at, and, we try to do our best to entertain everybody.
Now, I want to, since we did the headline story, before we go, what I want to do is I want you to tell me, like, what could happen in the sports world, the gossip world, all the stuff that you create. What would be the greatest, like, create a headline you could ever have? What factors would go into just, like, I know this is going to be the biggest thing?
Let me tell you, it's always, first off, it's always who the player is.
Yeah, so the biggest
So,
a huge basketball, or is basketball the biggest?
I tell you right now, if you want to know what would break the internet,
yeah,
is if LeBron got caught cheating.
Oh.
with a Kardashian.
If it was a Kardashian, it'd be 100 times more. But it really wouldn't matter who it was. If
LeBron gets caught cheating.
Okay.
Now let me ask you something. With your source, if I gave you a big stack of money and you had to bet it, LeBron has ever cheated or LeBron has not ever cheated, which way you put?
No, I can't tell you that because we got to. Because here's the thing, you got to protect.
He's 100%. I guarantee he's cheating.
You got to protect LeBron. Like in some cases, you got to think of the greater good. LeBron's a good guy.
Yeah.
He does a lot of.
He's a great guy.
He started a school. He's doing he gives a lot of. He did one things that
He's
really
never been accused of rape. He
never
didn't
been
get his
accused of
dad
this,
killed
yeah.
over gambling debts.
He brought his his people on as an agent, and he's a good guy. Like you can think whatever you want
pass
about
first basketball player.
Yeah, you can think whatever you want about the basketball player. Sometimes he whines a little bit, flops or whatever.
They all do though.
But as a person, as someone, and don't forget, we're from Ohio.
Yeah, of course.
We've been in Ohio, so I was there when LeBron was in high school and the Hummer and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
He has had this type of bullseye on him since he was 16, 17 years
100%.
old. And all of this attention on him and people expecting him to fail.
Sure.
And he's exceeded, expectations. So let's say LeBron is somebody that I protect at all costs. So if anything was to come across my desk, that would go in the shredder.
Yeah, good for you.
I love it.
Good for you.
We added another LeBron stand to the couch. Welcome. You're in good company.
We're big LeBron stands over here. I saw him. Here's something crazy. I saw him. So LeBron's 3 years younger than me. My team played in the state finals and won the state championship. My high school, when I was a senior, LeBron was a freshman. So they played the game before us.
Oh, okay.
Akron, St. Mary, St. Vincent. And I saw him at 14, he's probably 15. And I saw how good he was. I remember telling people, I was like, this guy is the next thing. And people were like, they always saying that. I go, no, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
This guy is the next. And obviously, the rest is history.
But you didn't curse one person. Thank God.
Yeah, I didn't curse LeBron.
Hopefully Black Sports Online doesn't get taken down later today from your appearance.
Please.
No. It won't at all.
I think Black Sports Online brand bigger than the Andy Dent curse.
Yeah, I agree. Bigger than my curse. Joe, you got any shows you want to promote?
Just go to joeprano.com for shows. Got a bunch coming up here in and around Los Angeles. Then I'll be in New York in June and the Bay Area a lot in July. So just keep your eye on that. Joe Prano on Twitter, at Fix Your Life on Twitter, Joe Prano on Instagram. That's it.
Of course, follow me at Andy Ruther on Twitter and Instagram, and follow us at The Dirty Sports. And once again, guys, if you leave an iTunes review, drop your Twitter, Instagram handle, and I'll send you a couple beer koozies. Okay, that's the show, Robert. Thanks again.
Appreciate
You're the
you
man.
guys.
Appreciate you coming down here.
Nice.
Enjoy the weekend, guys. We'll be back again either Sunday or Monday. Watch some NBA. Go to Black Sports Online. And don't forget, stay dirty.
That was great, man.